Welcome back again to the channel. Today I'm taking us to Relics Museum in Badagry, where we continue the understanding of what happened, and we are trying to have people that have the knowledge that this is the place where it happened. So this is Mobile Relics Museum. This is where things started. Before we move on to the point of no return. Now, if we look at the card, just in a summary of what happened, you can see that the agony and the pain that was put on our descendants, that was put on our forefathers was enormous. I want us to kind of pay attention to this video. I want you to walk with me, to journey with me on this video, and kind of pay attention to it. Pay attention to the details. How slaves were bound together with different type of chain. They have the chain for the babies. They have the chain for the adults. They have the chain for women. They have the chain to bind bunch of people together. Just listen to that detail. And also, you will also learn that yes, they said there was slavery in Africa at one certain point before even the Transatlantic Slave Trade begins. But at the same time, we have to understand the difference in this slave trade that we said that they were saying. Now, there's a domestic slave trade in Africa, which is just you owe me money, then you can't pay me, then you have to give me somebody to work in my farm or that kind of serve me for a certain period of time before you go. So we call that domestic slavery. Yeah, that was the only thing that was here in Africa before the transatlantic slave trade began, before the colonials came in, before the slave trade masters came to exploit Africa. So it's just different. There's no pain involved in the African slave trade, in the slave trade of Africa. And it's just for you to serve for a payment, or monetary payment to serve within certain period of time. There's no binding of chain. There is no pain inserted on you. There's nothing. At a certain point, you will be free. Compared to the transatlantic slavery, I want you to pay attention, and I want you to comment on this video. Just join me as we go along with this video.
Welcome to the Relic Museum. So the museum is all about slave trade. And slave trade started in the year 1445, and then it was finally abolished in the year 1888. So the Portuguese are the pioneer of the slave trade, and then the Americans are the one who abolished the transatlantic slave trade. So when they want to abolish slavery, the slaves themselves are the one that campaign against the trade, that this trade should be abolished. So this is the symbol that was used to campaign against the slave trade. When the slaves decide to take destiny into their hands, they're trying to fight for their freedom. Okay. So am I not a man and a brother? Is the question the slave is asking the master.
Okay, say that again.
Am I not a man and a brother?
Okay.
Am I not a man and a brother? That is he not a man like the master?
Okay,
Is he not a brother to the master? So
okay.
that's the question the slave is asking.
Okay.
The master who enslaved him. So he's using this question to fight then to campaign for freedom. So this is when the Europeans got to West Africa and they divided Africa into 4 major coasts. Each coast was named after primary resources they discovered. The first coast is the Grain Coast, and the Grain Coast is Sierra Leone and Senegal. The second coast is Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is Cote d'Ivoire. The third coast is known as the Gold Coast, and the Gold Coast is Ghana. And the last coast is Slave Coast. And the Slave Coast is Wida in Benin Republic, and then Badagry in Nigeria. And the reason they call Slave Coast is because they get more slaves from Benin Republic and Badagry than any other destination. That's why they call them the Slave Coast. And this is an umbrella used in exchange for 40 slaves. So the umbrella was given to the king in Tibetu of Dahomey, that's in the Republic, in exchange for 40 slaves. So let's see the white slaves. So these are white slaves. The white slaves indicate that not only the Africans were taken as slaves, slavery is a global business. They also enslaved from other parts of the world. So these are the Arabs taking the whites as slaves. And you have the Greek taking the whites as slaves. So that shows that slave trade does not affect only Africans. It's a global business.
Okay, so that's what they call this trade as
yes, white
slaves.
You know, we have black slaves, we have white slaves too. Then there's the Trans-Sahara slave trade. So this is the process where the slaves are taken through the desert, then down to North Africa. So this shows that slave trade has been existed even before the arrival of the Europeans.
Okay, so this is what I learned in school. I learned this in school about the Trans-Sahara slave trade. So nothing was taught to us in school about the actual slavery into America. We learned, because I did history when I was in high school. So I was able to kind of find out about trade by battle, Trans-Sahara trade, and also about the empire, like domestically, yes, and what is it called? Empires, the Mali empires, the Sangay empires, and so forth and so on. But nobody really talk about the American or the European. I mean, I'm talking about when I was in high school now, when I was in secondary school. There's no thought of that. But we did history, so we see picture of people with like what is the apes? Not really human being. In the history book, you see picture of apes with walking in big forest, thick forest, and all chained and lined up. That's all we want to. So what I said.
We're going to the next questions. So because the place is divided into different sections.
Okay. Okay. So we have to go fast.
So this one is called the slave drinking pot. So on the plantation, the pot is filled with water for the slaves, and all the slaves have to surround the pot. They put their mouths, use their hands to scoop water from the pot. So the drinking is survival of the fittest, because the slaves have to drink water once in a day. So that's why they struggle and make sure they get water from the pot. While fighting for water, they get injured by the edge of the pot, and then their blood goes into the water, so the blood still continues to drink the water. Then there is the prototype of the slave ship. So the ship has the upper deck and the lower deck. The upper deck for the masters and the lower deck for the slaves.
So which way is somewhere on the
and then this is the loading pattern. This is how they load the slaves inside the lower deck of the ship. They lie them down and they face up for 2 to 12 weeks. Europeans have never made record that they came to Africa to enslave Africa. What they only had is that there's slavery in Africa too. Yes, there's slavery in Africa, but they said that slavery in Africa was free and fair slavery.
And mostly domestic?
Yes, mostly domestic slavery. Yeah. So that's why I said it was very free and fair, because they were never maltreated.
Yeah.
So during the slavery that we have in Africa, the slave have access to buy their freedom,
yes,
and become anything they wish to become.
Yes.
So we have a good example of a slave called King Jaja of
Okobo.
And become a king,
yes,
in the present day River State.
Yes. So this is it just made a very important point. Just make a very good important point. And even though the European might say, well, there is slavery already in Africa, but the slavery in Africa is mostly domestic, and they can buy themselves. It's like someone borrowing money from someone else and trying to pay back and can't pay back, so you have to serve certain period of time till you buy yourself back. So, like you just said, I just think I have to bring it up. It's saying that it's very fair, nobody is maltreated, you can walk yourself out of slavery. Some of the slaves is because of tribal war between small towns, and the one that conquered the other one kind of take people and say they have to work for them for some time. I just think you should just bring that out. I think it's a very important point, and I think I should just kind of, so.
And fear. And the reason I said it was fear and fear is that nobody was chained, nobody was maltreated. In fact, people that owned slaves then, kings, prominent people among the community.
That's the point.
They are the ones that are slaves then.
Yes.
Slavery was just seen as a sign of punishment during the domestic or the trans-Saharan slave trade. They used social miscreants as slaves. Prisoners of wars were used as slaves. Thieves in the community were used as slaves. Undesirable elements also used as slaves. So that is to tell us that in Africa, fine, we have slavery, but it was very, very free because I can work for you. Then you can even tell me that, okay, when I'm working for you as a maid, I should get married to your daughter or to your son, because that's the kind of thing that we have in Africa. But when the Europeans now came to West Africa, they introduced chain. They introduced what we call sheep. The trade that Europeans brought, which we call the Transatlantic Slave Trade, affected every economic aspect of the West Africa. Instead of us to be trading with our next community, we are busy, ready, looking for slaves up and down, in search of whiskey, in search of umbrella. Then they don't use anything in exchange for slave in the trans-Saharan domestic slavery. Nothing was used in exchange for slave, just like slave punishment. So, okay, this is okay. When they terminate the see that you people too, okay, so well. Tell them how as a slave to go and face the punishment. After facing the punishment, the slave will be free. And then very sure that after getting his freedom, he's not going back to the same offense anymore. Now, when the Europeans introduced chains, let me use the case of Badagry as a very good example. Before the arrival of the European Badagry is the biggest salt making industry in of West Africa.
Yes, I heard that.
So when they now introduced the transatlantic slave trade, they forgot about slavery.
About salt.
They now use the same spot. They now use the same spot they are using for the salt. They now convert the place to the point of no return. They convert the place to the point of no return. So that's why I said instead of us to be trading with our next community, we are busy enslaving, fighting to get slaves.
Just like we have crude oil. Everybody now focus on crude oil as the main source of income. So producing salt, which used to be the main job of Badagry, when they see other ways of making money quick, right? So they go into slavery.
Because the trade gets to the stage that if you are not selling slave, you will be sold as a slave.
Yes, that's another point.
It's got to the stage that the domestic slavery has never got to that extent.
Yes.
But the transatlantic slave goes to, if you are not selling slaves, you'll be sold as a slave. So instead of a slave dealer, a slave owner, or by a slave, or by a slave leader. The others are the one that will go and bring the slave down, then hand over to the person that will sell the slaves, and then the slave owners are the one that already own slaves in their own store, while the leaders are those that will go and wait and then hand over to the chiefs. And the chiefs are the one that involved. The chiefs are just like the middlemen between the seller of the slaves and then the buyer of the slaves. So these are the chains used on the slaves. So you have the neck chains for the male, the neck chain for the females, the neck chain for the male. So the one for the female, and then it's for the male. Then it's for the neck of the babies.
Neck of the baby.
Yes. In record of trans-Saharan slavery, we never had that babies
is chained.
They never chained anybody. Never chained anybody. It was the European that introduced chain. It was the European that introduced sick.
Harsh punishment.
So this is the artistic impression of the tortured slave at the Badagry point of no return. How they say they're tortured at the Badagry point of no return. So that means the branding of the slaves. They have to write the names of the slave owners. On the body of the slave.
Like something Smith,
yes,
or something Gregory.
Yes. If the name of the master is Thomas, we have Thomas on the body of the slave owner. Mr. Thomas, and they will never abbreviate names.
They would write the full.
They will write the names in full. So, for example, the name of the master is Thomas, and Thomas is going to Brazil. They write Thomas and write Brazil and the body of the slave.
So it's like a cargo.
Yes,
So the cargo is going to Brazil.
Yes. For the reason they brand is because all the slave masters, there may be like 40, 50 slave masters inside the ship. With about 700 slaves. And they're not going to the same
Place.
place.
So you have to know where they got stuff.
And they belong to different slave masters. So you have to know, if you get your own destination, you should know your own slave and then bring them out. So that's why they brand them.
So how about this? Separation of the family.
Same families are not supposed to be same masters.
Yes,
So they are separated. You never see them stay to the end of their life. For example, now this is the father, and then these are the Dutch slave dealer, and the mother and child is the Portuguese slave dealer. So meaning the father will be taken to Holland, and the mother and child will be taken to Portugal.